Welcome to Community. I'm your host, Cody Thompson, and I am so excited for today's episode. Many of our listeners may remember a recent podcast that we did with Nicole, a parent of a participant on the NDIS. And I'm so excited to have my guest here today, who is Jade, Nicole's daughter. Jade, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I know you were here last time listening to Mum having a conversation with me, and we talked about getting you on. And before we kick it off, I just want to call out the fact that you're also a fellow podcaster. Is that right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Awesome. Well, tell us a bit about your podcast that you run.
So the podcast I run is pretty much about accessibility and how people can improve the world, and just my day-to-day interests and hobbies and everything that can go wrong and does go wrong, but you have to laugh about it at the end of the day.
Absolutely, you do. But that's awesome. I look forward to some tips and some pointers from you today at the end of the podcast. It'll be great. For anyone that's listening out there, what's the name of your podcast so they can find it?
It's called Mystics and Meltdowns.
Mystics and Meltdowns. Awesome. Well, love that. Like I said, it's so great to have you here today. Tell us a bit about you more broadly and your story and the connection to all through the disability sector.
Yes, so I was born with an eye condition called microphthalmia, which means I'm small, small eye, small stature, and it's classified as completely blind, but I did have a bit of vision that I used to my advantage until I was about 11, I think it was.
Yep.
Well, just as I entered high school, it started to deteriorate, and now I have pretty much nothing. So.
Yeah. Wow. And I remember from speaking to your mum last time, now this is quite a rare condition, is that right?
It is, yes. I only know, I think, one other my age in Australia who has it, and then 2 people around my age in the US.
Yeah, wow. So it's so unique and so rare. And again, Mum mentioned last time, but you're very much a trailblazer in this space. A lot of people look up to you and your story because you are, like you said, at your age, one of the few people that has this condition. It's amazing to hear how you've navigated through life, and we're going to touch a bit on that today. I don't know as well if the audience can see, but we also have your service dog here today.
Yes.
And your service dog gets you through life and guides you through a lot of things. How's that been for you?
Well, when people ask if it makes me more independent, I would kind of say not really, because I feel like it's the same sort of stability. She's a lot grounding, but when it comes to getting out and about to events or going out shopping, it is still having to rely on somebody's side unless I know where I'm going or the location. But then the rights of accessibility to enter venues is a whole different story.
Definitely. And I mean, we can elaborate a little bit. We don't have to go into specifics, but talking to you off camera and talking to Mum as well, it sounds like even today, in 2026, there are still so many venues that are outdated with their policies and don't quite educate and train their staff on the need for people to be able to come through with a service dog.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll do our part today to make sure that we get it out to the masses, that it needs to be a lot more widely accepted and just freeing for everybody to be able to come through. We're going to talk a lot today, but before we do about, I guess, different things in your life, just tell us a bit about you. What do you do at the moment? What do you do in your spare time? What keeps you busy?
So I do a lot of reading. I'm a big reader. I love my books. I like gaming, and I do volunteering. Which is I do transcribing Word documents into Braille.
Amazing.
So again, reading.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? That for someone that's, myself included, that doesn't know enough about that space and what that entails, can you elaborate a little more?
So it's not very common because it's very it's a very niche thing. I don't know how many people do it in Australia, but yeah, so you get a Word document and then you pretty much put it through a software that translates into Braille, but then you have to go and reformat it all because, translating into something is obviously going to make its mistakes. So you have to proofread it all and correct everything.
That's incredible. That's so cool in the sense that, again, how technology can aid people and create these things. And Braille sounds like a big part of your life. Have you been a Braille user since an early age? When did you start to learn Braille?
Oh gosh, I think Mum and I discussed. I think I got a Braille when I was about 6 months.
Yeah, wow.
So obviously you're too young then to actually understand what it is, but you get to, crawl over it, touch it, push buttons with your feet, that sort of thing to like to get you desensitized to using something that isn't really used and becomes like a normal thing in your daily life.
Yep.
So I started properly learning, I think, in like kindy, so like age 5.
Yep.
And then you do like heaps of lessons each week with I had a visiting teacher who came in and taught me Braille until I always had a visiting teacher all through school.
Yep.
But I got more advanced than they could teach me, essentially, with technology adapting and coming into play.
Yep. Yeah, well, and look at you now, you're a pro. You're doing, that's amazing. That's very, very cool. And I can imagine that you were one of the few using it in class and going through school. Like, how was that, process growing up and being one of the few Braille users?
So, yes, again, in the whole, blind community, there isn't too many who read Braille because they just weren't brought up. Well, one, because they weren't brought up with it, and two, it's just really hard to get access to vision teachers who come out and assist you. And with the world becoming more technology-based, Braille isn't so widely used. But, it's really fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that you obviously do some volunteering through that Braille. It was Vision Australia, is that where you're doing that?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So those guys do a fantastic job of helping people with Braille and everything else. Can you tell us a bit about Vision Australia and the volunteering stuff that you do? I know you touched on it, but
yeah. So pretty much, I just do their transcribing for their library. But yeah, it's a very small community here in Perth. My whole team is over in Sydney, so it's quite interesting seeing everybody's different experiences through that sort of community, especially when 5 years ago I was on the outside of that community rather than on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm essentially dealing with people like me, but from the inside of a community that I wouldn't really think that I would be a part of.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, it's an amazing turnaround, but at the same time, credit to you and the person that you are and how far you've come in a short period of time. Do you enjoy that experience, being a part of that team now, and I guess the purpose that comes with volunteering for a cause?
Yes, but I honestly, if it's something like reading and my hobbies, I'm more likely to do it because I just, I like to be happy and in my own space.
Absolutely.
And doing my own thing. So it's kind of nice that I get to do something like reading and just keeping up skills that I probably wouldn't keep if I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all the readers out there, what are you reading at the moment? Is there any recommendations, or what are you picking up at the moment?
I'm reading the A Court of Frost and Starlight. So it's the A Court of Thorns and Roses series.
Okay. I'm not going to pretend
good.
like I've read it,
No.
but it sounds good. I probably should do a lot more reading than I actually do, but that's great. When you find a good book, it's, like you said, very purpose-led and something good to have a hobby in that regard.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about then looking forward to the future. I guess, do you have any goals that you're trying to set yourself towards or any targets that you're trying to keep at this stage?
So I would like to become a narrator. So that's my big thing at the moment. But I also do sensitivity reading for authors. So that's reading books and making sure that the representation of people who have vision loss or blindness or other chronic conditions, because I deal with chronic fatigue and migraines as well.
Yeah.
So trying to make sure that representation is correct is a huge thing that needs to be looked at and assessed.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome to hear that that's your goals and what you're working towards. And again, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people out there. Hopefully we can connect you with some people that can maybe light a fire in that journey and help open some doors as well. But that's so exciting. Hey guys, a quick message from our sponsors, SN Training. Are you looking for complex care training that you can trust? SN Training are nurse-owned and nurse-led, delivering both accredited training and non-accredited training with a focus in the NDIS high-intensity supports. Compassion is at the forefront of everything they do. They deliver evidence-based, practical education led by experienced nurses who role model best practice and inspire confidence when it comes to high-quality support. With human-centered practice at the heart of everything that they do, you'll not only learn, but you'll learn the right way. SN training is where expertise meets care and your learning makes a difference. We're so excited to be working with SN Training. They share the same passion that we have for shining the light on positivity in the NDIS sector and for people living with a disability, and we can't wait to keep working with them. Now back to the episode. We touched a little bit about school before, and we won't harp on it too much, but I'm just really interested to know what that experience was like. And in particular, as you grew up and got older, what were some of the things that really helped you get through school and feel like a part of the community?
Honestly, going home.
Yep. No.
I did not really enjoy school. It was not my cup of tea.
Yep.
Again, probably because of the accessibility problems of not getting my work given to me in accessible formats by, timelines.
Yep.
So even if I wanted to get like assessments done by the due date, I wasn't likely to because the information wasn't given to me in an accessible format. So it made it very, very difficult. And when people don't understand that, hey, you need to put this into a Word doc, or you need to get this to my education assistant by this time, because, it's not going to happen overnight that this information is going to be turned into something that I can read.
No, definitely. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's terrible to hear that, but I appreciate the honesty and the vulnerability behind that answer, because it is a lot. And again, a lot of teachers do amazing work out there, but they potentially either not take for granted, but just don't quite fully grasp the challenges that would come with a condition like yours and how they could better support you to make your life a bit easier. You mentioned these challenges and you didn't love school, but ultimately it sounds like you still got through it or got through it to a point. How do you push through? Like as a young person, a young woman, how did you push through? And I guess mum and a few others were a big support for you during that time?
Yeah, I guess like family is huge. I'm a big animal lover, so going home and spending time with my animals was like probably the best thing. And my best friend who lives in Sydney,
yep.
Her and I, we met at a music camp, and that was like the one big thing that I look forward to every year, and that just kept me going every year to get through. Because if I didn't have like my vision impaired community and my music community, I don't know how I would have actually gotten through school.
Yeah, well, again, all of this, like I appreciate the honesty behind it, and it's tough to hear, but at the same time, it just reinforces how important having a community circle around you and good family and supports is. And unfortunately, not everybody can have that, but it sounds like you were very lucky, and it's partly to do with the person that you are as well, that people wanted to spend time with you and hang out with you. But, for people listening out there, again, I guess it just reinforces the message that you need to surround yourself with those people that can guide you through it, right?
Yes, but you also don't need to have such a big circle that you get like drowned in the, opinions and stereotypes and expectations that people give you. Like you need to kind of build that like barrier between you and what people's expectations are of you.
Yep. Yeah, really good advice. No, definitely. And we talk about inclusion and different things, and sometimes I feel like they're buzzwords when I ask people on this, because a lot of people in the community throw them out there at the moment. I just want to like drill down on independence, and I just really want to understand, like, what does being independent mean to you?
It means like having an accessible world that you're able to walk in and, be able to share the same rights as everybody else, and able to access things like social media and even menus at a restaurant that, you can read it without having to go to the waiter. Hey, can you please read this to me? Or whoever you're with. Or, like stuff, even cutting food sometimes, because I've got low muscle tone, I struggle to cut steak. And, I have to ask whoever's with me, like my support workers or even the chef, I always ask, hey, can you get the chef to cut this for me, because I can't cut it.
Yeah.
Just because of that, and you feel kind of awkward asking, because it's not a normal thing to ask, and it should be. Totally. Look,
I understand why you feel awkward, but you shouldn't, to your point. I think it should just be normal practice, in the sense that people should be more aware of the accessibility challenges that are out there and what they can do to improve the situation. But yeah, okay, no, fascinating. It really is. And tell me about we've talked a little bit about your journey so far. I understand that the NDIS in some ways has been a big support for you, but in other ways has been a bit challenging as well. But ultimately, I believe that the NDIS has unlocked a lot of supports to help you along the journey. Is that right?
Definitely with support workers. I did not have that before the NDIS. So before, when I was in school, I didn't really have that ability to organize my social life out of school, out of family. So now that's made it a lot easier in the regards of support workers. So I do like that I'm able to, essentially book people to come and take me to XYZ and not have to rely totally on myself and public transport, because it can be really, really draining, and having to deal with public who don't understand you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you mentioned support workers. Obviously, I think you would be well versed in what is a great support worker or what is potentially not a great support worker. What would you say are a couple of the, I guess, key characteristics, or like what makes a good support worker from your experience?
Well, someone, honestly, who can do housework and chores before fun.
Yeah.
Because the fun parts are supposed to happen with people like your family and your friends.
Yeah.
And, sometimes as much as heaps of support workers just want to go have fun, that's not your job. Your job is to support somebody in every single part of their day.
Yeah.
Even for some people, that's helping them get out of bed in the morning, or, having a shower, like very personal things that you don't really think about. And I know that heaps of people, even young people my age, go into support work they think it's a good cause, but then they don't realize how hard of a job it is.
Yep. Yeah. In a nice way, it can sometimes look appealing, I think, to people. Like you said, they get paid to hang out and almost feel like they have a friend, and that's what it is, and go to the shops and all this great stuff. But there is so much more behind it, so many more layers to it. And I really appreciate your perspective on that as well. That's great, because I think you're right. Some people just think that they need to go have fun and keep people busy, but there is so much more to it, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And what do you think, like from an NDIS point of view, like for outsiders looking into the NDIS, what do you wish that, I guess, some people maybe better understood about the NDIS, or more broadly the disability sector?
Every person with a disability has different needs. That's a huge, huge thing. I am completely blind, but there could be another completely blind person who needs more support or less support than I do. And it really just varies on the person specifically. And I just feel like when you've got a label of a disability, or even your actual disability label, people go, oh, so you must want this or this or this. And it's like, no, actually my supports are way different than what you're thinking of. It's a very stereotypical point of view.
Yeah, I can see that. They feel like they're helping, but in reality they're not. They're just sort of cookie cutter approaching to everybody.
Yes.
That says they've got a disability, and just assuming what helps and what works, but in reality it really doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jade, now we're going to move into the sharp 7. Now, I know we joked about this off camera, and you heard Mum go through this last time as well. I think you absolutely nail it, just like she did. These are designed to be a lot more shorter, sharper answers, but we'll roll through them, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. First one is just simply, what's your favourite thing to do in your spare time? I know you mentioned reading before.
Read.
Yeah, cool. Reading. Is there anything else that you do to keep busy on the side?
Gaming.
Gaming. Cool. What do you game? Like, what do you play?
Gosh, anything that is accessible.
Yeah, cool. What's your go-to right now?
Hearthstone.
I obviously need to be better educated. You've thrown some great responses to me today. I've got nothing. But cool. Okay, check it out, everybody. Hearthstone. All right. Second question of the Sharp 7 is, what's a place that you'd love to visit one day?
I'd love to go back to New York.
Yeah, amazing. So you've been before?
Yes.
Cool. How long ago was that?
2023.
Oh, cool. So recent.
Well, sort of recent.
Yeah. Well, you always want to go back to New York. I've been as well. It's always good to go back. Did you go when it was cold, hot weather?
I think it was like mid-weather.
Okay.
So it's like October. Yeah, October.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, we've done Christmas in New York, and I definitely would say if you're going to go,
So good.
yes, that's where you want to be. That's it. All right. Question 3: what's something that makes you happy? What really lights you up?
Probably like my animals and talking to my narrator friends.
Yeah, cool. Love it. And you mentioned animals a bit through this.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a bit more? Animals are we talking about?
My dogs.
Yeah, cool. How many have you got?
Well, I've got my service dog and then I've got a pet dog. So I guess 2.
Yeah, fantastic. Cool. All right. Question 4. You're flying through this. You're doing really well. What's one thing you wish more people understood about having a disability? And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier in the potty, but what's something you wish people from the outside would understand about what people go through when they have a disability?
Let people take their time, and everybody's disability is different from everybody else's, and everybody should be treated with respect. Even if you don't have a disability, you should be respecting everybody's boundaries.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. Now, this one might be hard only because it says list 1, but I feel like there's plenty out there. But, like, what's one change that you would make today in the world to make the world more accessible?
Oof.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
Gosh. Just a way of, like, other people seeing people in a light that's not, particularly the same way, like very stereotypical. Get rid of the stereotypes.
Yeah, awesome. Very great answer. Awesome. Okay. Who is someone that inspires you?
Gosh, I don't know. There's too many people. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, there's just too many people, and I feel like the word inspiring is a bit too, like, for me personally, I don't really like it because you come across as like, everybody should be the same, and like it just adds that attribute to somebody that they may not want.
Yep. No, I understand that. I think, and I mentioned at the top that you're a bit of a pioneer with your condition and showing people, and I feel like that is your personality type. You're not one to necessarily look to other people for guidance and inspiration. You're very much charting your own path and letting other people follow behind as well. So that's, I think, very much you, which is great. Now, you've done so well. We're on the last one. So question 7. In one word, what does community mean to you?
Family. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, awesome. Well, you survived, so I know you were fretting about the sharp 7, so you've done incredibly well. I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you today. I know we've had a bit of a short, sharp one, but it's been fantastic to get to know you as a person and some of the challenges that you face. And again, I think a lot of your answers today have come with real vulnerability, which I really do appreciate in you sharing. The floor is yours now. Like, you have a captive audience, people that are listening to us from all around Australia, whether they have a disability, work in the sector, or they're just sort of listening to this pod for the first time. What's your message? What would you want to leave with people?
Don't give up on your dreams, because if you give up on your dreams, you're not going to have like something to look forward to, and you don't really want to go down that path of, not having something to keep yourself motivated.
Definitely. That's really great advice. And again, for everybody, I think it really cascades across to anyone. So I love that. Well, like I said, it's been fantastic talking to you today. I know we mentioned your podcast at the top. If people do want to reach out to you, and if there's people out there that can really connect with your story or potentially would love some advice or anything else out there, is there a way that they can get in touch?
Yes. So I go by Milo Summers on a lot of my social media. So I have like my Instagram and my TikTok usually is probably like the best place to find me.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, awesome. Well, Jade, honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed you being here today. Thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Like I said, you've really just answered with some great sort of responses about where you're at and, more importantly, your journey, and I just really do appreciate it. So thank you so much.
No, thank you.